Hey guys, it's Austin with Forward Controls here. Today we're going to be talking about the ASF, or the Ambidextrous Safety Selector from Forward Controls. We designed it in collaboration with the folks over at Sons of Liberty Gunworks. A lot of man hours, a lot of testing went into it, a lot of input we got from the folks over at Sons. Really appreciate that. We're going to be talking about the feature sets and the configuration and why you can purchase it in the options that you can purchase it in. So let's just jump into it. So at its core, the ASF is a modular safety selector that you can purchase in either a 50-degree throw or a 90-degree throw, and with a Q lever like we have here, or a standard throw lever like the TDP spec style one, just obviously ambidextrous. So let's get into a few different things. First and foremost, why is it available in a 50-degree and a 90? Well, obviously a 90, just like the TDP spec, a mil spec safety, you get the option to do a 90, but we understand that a lot of people like the short throw configuration. The problem with the short throw, and there's actually two of them if it's a 45. One, Roger talked about it a little bit on his Big Tech's Ordnance podcast episode. When it's a 45-degree safety, it's ambiguous between safety and fire, right? So from a philosophical standpoint, it's right in the middle. It's not really making a choice. And then from a safer, more practical standpoint, there are 45-degree safeties out there that, depending on the specs of the lower receiver and the trigger pack and the safety selector that you're using, that you can actually pull the trigger hard enough to where the firearm actually goes off, even when you have safe selected. So it's obviously not safe. The whole point of a safety selector is to be safe. That's why we chose to not do a 45 and instead chose a 50. Now, why a 50 instead of a 60 or a 70? Well, then you're going to start to lose out on the benefits of a short throw the longer you make that throw. Getting into actually installing this on your AR-15. So you're going to put one of the end caps on, and then you're going to install this roll pin and install it on your lower receiver. And then you are going to install the other side. After you've installed it on your lower receiver, take the other roll pin, and you're going to take a punch again, and you're going to set it in. Now, the reason we did that instead of screws or detents is because we actually found that we were able to get really tight tolerances, really good fitment out of roll pins, and it's just, it's peace of mind, right? These are never going to come out unless you punch them out, versus something like a screw or a detent or some type of track system where they can potentially come loose over time. They can pull loose, they can wiggle loose. And it's just, it's not fun, right? This one is, because we do have to have it be a modular piece in order to install it on a receiver, it obviously needs to separate somewhere. And so because it has to be multiple pieces, this was how we found we were able to achieve the most secure and the toughest lockup possible on the lower receiver while being ambidextrous. So also talking about the degree of throw and why we don't just do both. The biggest reason there is, one, that'd be paying for a machine time that you as the customer would be paying for the machine time of a feature you might not necessarily use. We've also found that customers know what they want, whether they want a 90 or a 50. They're really not changing it back and forth. Our customers know whether they want a short throw or the standard 90-degree throw. So we just didn't want to charge them for machine time that they're not going to use, right? They're not going to be going back and forth between a 50-degree and a 90-degree week to week. So that is why it does not have both in every single option. That's why you select which version you want when you purchase it. So hope that makes sense. Let's get into, over on my 11.5, the benefits of the geometry of these throw levers. Taking a look here, this is a Q lever in a 50-degree throw on my 11.5 here. We can talk about those benefits. It is not very difficult on either configuration to go from safe to fire, right? It's going to feel about the same between a Q lever or a standard lever. However, depending on your hand's geometry and the way you manipulate a rifle, it may actually be easier on your support side safety, you know, the standard safety that most people use, to actually go from fire to safe a little bit easier because of how it shifts that that platform there, right? So as you can see, it's super easy for me to go from fire back to safe. without me really having to break my grip, you know, to manipulate it. Now, that might not be the case with every person. Every person's hand's different. We all have different hand geometries, but this just gives the end user an option in terms of how they manipulate their safety. Talking more about the strong side or the ambidextrous side of the safety, there's a few differences when we look at how it's shaped versus the standard side, which is that it's going to be shorter and it's going to be wider. So why is it shorter and why is it wider? Well, it's shorter because in conjunction with that Q design, if you choose to option it that way, it's going to not hit on your knuckle of your trigger finger, right? So that's one major benefit of it. The other benefit of it being wider is if you're going to roll your thumb over to actuate the safety on the strong side, like if you're taking a precision shot or if you're bench rested or anything of that nature, and you just don't want to induce movement, you can actually actuate that safety really easily just from your thumb, right? So because it's a little bit wider, it fits the geometry of your thumb a little bit easier because you're going from a different angle than you would on your firing side. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the profile of that detenting itself, right? So it is very meticulously designed to be, going back to my 11.5 here, extremely stout, extremely positive. I guess that's the only way to really describe it, is it's a positive engagement, right? There's no slack in it. There's really no ambiguity. It is firmly in the safe or the fire position, and then deactivating it or depressing it into the other position. It just feels really firm, right? There's no ambiguity about it. It's just a great feeling safety. There's really no other way to describe it. So hey guys, I hope that answered all of your questions on the ASF, on why it's designed the way it is, why we use the roll pins, why the safety selectors are the shape that they are, and why we have the different throw angles that are available. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email us or drop them in the comments and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Thank you guys so much and have a good day.